We're joined by Milan Lelich. He's a political observer with RBC-Ukraine news agency. Mr. Lelich, welcome to TVP World. Thanks for taking the time.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. So are we going to see more joined-up action as a result of this meeting between the French, German and Polish leaders? Because that's certainly the message they seem to be putting out at the moment.
Well, what we are observing right now is basically a revival of this format of the Weimar Triangle, because after a period of relative inactivity between, say, 2015 and 2023, when it was pretty inactive, almost nothing happened, no meetings, no nothing. And now, even this year, we have had already several top-level meetings, both at the level of the MFAs and at the level of the heads of states. So I think that this format again starts working, and it starts institutionalizing, because there is a certain agenda. There are several communiques, several documents. There are some scheduled meetings for the future, so on. And yes, this will be a very difficult task to hear a united voice from three, I guess, major EU states, because almost roughly half of the population of the EU lives in France, Germany, and Poland, and they are one of the biggest economies, obviously, of the EU, of the whole EU, and also they have has its own political, geopolitical, economical, and all other interests, and history of bilateral and trilateral relationships, history of relationship with Russia, with the Ukraine, with the United States, and so on. And as of now, we clearly see that there is no one voice policy as of now, because we have observed really quite sharp tensions, in particular between the French and German leaders, after President Macron started talking about the possibility of sending French troops or Western troops to Ukraine, which was heavily criticized by the Chancellor Scholz. And there was like an exchange of very sharp wordings. So I think that it's okay that Poland takes part in this forum, because I think that Poland and the current Polish EU-friendly government can really help to ease tensions between Paris and Berlin. And it's okay that all the leaders, they keep underlining the importance of having this united external policy strategy, which was also underlined at the briefing after the last meeting. So for us, it's only a matter of seeing results in practice. And this is also extremely important for Ukraine for obvious reasons, because we don't want to see our friends, our partners, to quarrel between each other. On the contrary, we want to see them united, having absolutely unified positions about the issue of possible negotiations or settling some conditions for peace settlement, and sending weapons to Ukraine, and the possibility to use Western weaponry against the Russian military targets on Russian soil, and the possibility of NATO helping to shoot down Russian missiles on Western Ukraine, and all other current tactical and strategical issues that are extremely important for our country.
Now, you mentioned this united external policy, and a second ago you were just telling us about the possibility of shooting down those Russian missiles over Ukraine by other countries. But now, with the revival of this Weimar Triangle, what goals or what targets would you like to see fulfilled, or maybe some processes sped up when it comes to Ukraine, as it continues, of course, fighting off Russia's illegal war that's taking place in the country?
Well, first of all, these are really tactical issues, like improving our air defense, which is vitally important for the whole country, again, for obvious reasons. And the second tactical issue is what I just mentioned, is for the West to allow us to use Western weaponry against Russian legitimate, I emphasize, only legitimate military targets, right after after the border. Like maybe we are not talking about attacking like, Moscow or St. Petersburg. No way. Only those forces that are built up in Belgorod Oblast and near the border, in a couple of kilometers behind the border, and they are feeling quite safe now because they know that Ukraine is potentially able to attack them only with the weaponry that is built by ourselves, by Ukrainian-made weaponry, but not with like ATACMS or HIMARS or in some foreseeable future by the F-16s, whatever they carry, weaponry they will carry, these jets, and so on. So I know there is a harsh debate even in Poland about this issue, as well as in France and Germany. Germany is always overcautious about making some new significant steps. We've been observing this since day one of the full-scale war. But I think that maybe France and its increasingly active position of President Macron, increasingly aggressive in a positive meaning of this word, and also the Polish position, which is absolutely pro-Ukrainian in this regard, by no doubt, I think that in the format of Weimar Triangle, they may help Chancellor Scholz maybe gently push the overcautious chancellor to making certain decisions that are vitally important for Ukraine. This is when we are talking about some tactical issues. As for the strategy, I think it's more about coordinating the position in this, not even triangle, but quadrangle between Warsaw, Berlin, Paris, and Kyiv in the issues of the peace summit that will happen soon next month in June in Switzerland, and all the further steps after this summit. I mean that we should clearly have one voice. Our president and the leaders of three respective countries should have one voice when talking, giving any public statements or whatever regarding the issues of possible or impossible modalities of peace settlement. Either it is possible in foreseeable future or not. We should have one voice. And I think that Weimar format, or preferably even Weimar format plus, plus Ukraine, so it will be really a Weimar quadrangle, not a triangle. I think may be really very, very useful to coordinate these positions, and not to mention surely the deliveries of certain types of weaponry to Ukraine. These are all things that are done at the Rammstein format, but again, there is never too much coordination and planning in war-related issues.
Indeed, absolutely right, Mr. Lelich. The more coordination, the better, as long as it's done quickly. Changing topics just slightly, Sweden has announced a 3-year military support program worth 6.5 billion euros for Ukraine. They seem to be showing the way, don't they, to countries in the European Union on actually putting their money where their words are. How's Sweden's action being perceived in Kyiv?
Absolutely positively, obviously, and I can say as a Ukrainian that generally Ukrainians are pleasantly surprised by the reaction of Nordic countries, by their behavior during the full-scale war, because, before it all started, we all understood that the US will be on our side, that Poland will be on our side, UK probably will be on our side, the Baltic nations will definitely be on our side. But not many people thought about really receiving some significant aid from, say, Denmark, which is clearly one of the champions in the Western coalition in terms of support of Ukraine, Sweden as well, Norway, Finland. So we are really pleasantly surprised that these nations that are, especially if we are talking about Denmark or Norway, that are situated quite far away from Russia. They don't share any border. They have several nations in between them and the Russian Federation as an aggressor, but still they are very much committed. They not only join certain alliances that are already established, they come with initiatives of establishing certain alliances like F-16 coalition and so on. And this is really a pleasant surprise. And the second point is, I think that Sweden really is paving a very right and very fruitful way. I mean, if nations start about providing Ukraine in middle to long-term support, not about here and now, but if they start talking about next year, 2026, 2027, and so on, this is a way to go, because it's a sort of a guarantee of in case something changes in their politics. All of them are democracies. All of them have regular elections. Something may change. Some new powers may come to power. Maybe some populist movements, maybe like right populist or who knows, that may change their course. And to guarantee against these changes, it's okay that they take any like middle term or long term commitments. I think, and we all hope that many nations will follow them, and also this security agreements, that there is almost 10 or something of them that are bilateral security agreements that have already been signed between Ukraine and other nations, and some more are expected to come. This is also the way to go, because they operate like periods of 5 years, 10 years or something, because we all understand that no one can predict how the war will develop, when it ends and under which condition. But what we can be really sure, that Russia will possess a threat both to Ukraine and the whole European continents for many years to come. So long-term commitments and long-term cooperation is definitely a way to go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for giving us more on this matter, and of course hoping for a fruitful cooperation between Kyiv and the leaders of the Weimar Triangle. Mr. Milan Lelich, political observer, RBC-Ukraine news agency, thank you very much for speaking to us here on TVP World.
Thank you. Bye.